always on time. I'm ahead of the game, I'm first place. I'm in my prime. Hard work that pays off. I pay dues, I'm paid off. Cross me, get crossed off. I'm so fresh, I'm so raw. Go hard like A-Day. It's game time like game day.
This season, watch the Hungry Jacks NBL take it to the next level.
Get ready for 2 NBL Blitz blockbusters in the GOP. New Zealand Breakers next Thursday night. Sydney Kings next Saturday night. Win Entertainment Centre. Tickets from $10, $40 for families. On sale now from Ticketmaster.
We'll race anything around here. Even the odd penny farthing.
When the whips are cracking at the back end of this NBL 22 season, many expect that the defending champions Melbourne United and the semi-finalists, the Illawarra Hawks, will be 2 of the 4 teams vying for that title once again. So let's get a good look at both of them here at the NBL Blitz. Hello and welcome to Day 7 at the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre. We've just seen a thriller between New Zealand and South East Melbourne. A Finn Delaney game winner got the Breakers over the line. Liam Santamaria, welcome to you. And let's hope we get something similar in this one.
Indeed, let's hope. We spoke about how we've been enjoying better games in the last few nights at the NBL Blitz, and that one tonight got things started beautifully. And as you say, these two teams, I expect both of these to be playoff teams this year. The defending champs, of course, they haven't missed the playoffs with Dean Vickerman at the helm, Melbourne United. And Illawarra just looking to build off an outstanding first season with Brian Goorjian at the helm, and some interesting new pieces. And fascinated to see how they'll go head-to-head tonight.
I think we're seeing already with the starting lineups tonight, there's a bit of a statement of intent from both teams. They're not messing around. For Melbourne, Joe Lawala-Chul, Caleb Agata, Matthew Dellavedova, Mason Peatling and Chris Golding. For the Hawks, Antonius Cleveland, Tyler Harvey, Justinian Jessup, Sam Froling and Duop Reed. So I would imagine, Liam, that when they both roll out for their round 1 matches, this is what they're going to be going with.
Very, very highly likely. So both teams just starting to get gear up, saying, all right, we've just got a couple more hit-outs before opening night. Let's get our main group out there. And that man, Justinian Jessup, on the left of his screen, number 10, was white hot in their opening game of the Blitz the other night. 27 points, 7 of 9 from long range. So let's see if he can carry that form into this one.
Melbourne have played 2 games so far in the NBL Blitz. Winners over New Zealand, 90-84 on the opening day. And then on Monday, went down to Sydney by 5, 80-75. For the Hawks, just the one game for them. They played on Monday and beat the Phoenix in the highest scoring match of the Blitz so far, 116-112. As we get underway, the Hawks control the tip. Tyler Harvey had 17 points to open his Blitz campaign. Duop Reed from outside, short on his first attempt. Long rebound by Caleb Agata, who was 0 for 3 in the first game, better in the second with 11 points. Now Harvey stepping back with a hand in the face from Peatling. Falls out to Reed. Scoreless start. Agata in transition, pulls up. It shows them all how it's done.
Agata gets scoring underway. Looked a little bit more comfortable in their second hit out. Agata 11, 4 and 4 with 5 steals. And he knocks down his first look tonight.
Sam Froling gets in deep and is fouled by Peatling.
You spoke about how high scoring that game was, Illawarra and South East Melbourne, overtime game, but the Hawks, both those teams had 100 points at the end of regulation. Now, that's no surprise for the Phoenix. Both their first couple of years in the league, they've been one of the highest scoring teams in the competition. But the Hawks were last in the league in scoring last year. 81 points per game and last in offensive efficiency per possession. So that's been a real focus for Brian Goorjian over the off-season. He said our defense was on point, but we struggled in the half court offensively. So he's brought in some new pieces to help tick that along, and that looked good in their first preseason hit out.
Dellavedova, they played the 11 minutes in their game on Monday. Both he and Chris Golding had their minutes pretty carefully managed. So should be very fresh for this one. Harvey making his way up the floor. Cleveland. Golding sat off just enough and Cleveland got the 3-ball away.
Can drill it. Was 0 of 5 from long range against Southeast Melbourne, but shot mid-30s from 3 across 4 years in the G League, and he can certainly knock it down.
As Peatling throws it back over his shoulder. Gives Melbourne another look. He's attracting the double team. Was clipped on the arm.
And that's why they brought Antonius Cleveland in. That three-point hit down the other end. Obviously, he's the man brought in place of Justin Simon, Defensive Player of the Year last year. But offensively, their spacing was all out of whack with Justin Simon on the floor. And Cleveland is himself a good defender, but also will keep the defense honest at the offensive end.
Hawks lead it by 2. Golding gets the look that he's after. He's into the game with his first points. The Tokyo Olympian. Two games to come for Illawarra. Up next, they're going to head home. Their final 2 games of the Blitz will be against New Zealand and Sydney. And when they get back to the Wynn Entertainment Centre, they're going to like the look of this ultra-aggressive Justinian Jessup. Agata, his second knockdown.
Starting to feel more and more comfortable. Agata, he spoke about that to the media during the week, saying, look, I'm just new team, new league, new system, just trying to work my way in, but you can see signs that he's starting to find his feet.
One of the stars of the NBL Blitz, Joe Lawala-Chul, 37 and 11 in the first game. That pass missing Mason Peatling, 13 and 7 in the second.
You spoke about Justinian Jessup. That was a tough mid-range pull-up over Dellavedova a couple of possessions ago, and it's interesting to have a look at the matchups from Melbourne United. They've got Agata guarding the primary ball handler in Tyler Harvey, and Dellavedova has been given the job of chasing Justinian Jessup around picks and cooling him off.
In the first game, Illawarra ran everything through Jessup in the opening 5 or 6 minutes. Tonight, hasn't had as many possessions, but Antonius Cleveland has got himself off to a bright start with 5 points. It's Peatling, nice pass, cross court for Dellavedova. It didn't go down, but Froling threw it back in to the waiting arms of Agata.
Well, that's just not what you do. So don't throw the ball back in underneath your own bucket. And that's the reason why, because it's as Agata scoops in and makes them pay.
That's 6 of their 11 points, the Nigerian. Make that 8. The screen just ticks over. Antonius Cleveland now has 8 points himself. Fast start at MSAC. Cleveland got a piece of the Golding 3 and in the open floor stuffs it.
Well, he's making himself known in the early going, isn't he, Cleveland? The 2 new imports, Agata and Cleveland, having a big impact early.
"27 years old. Let's take another look. Most recently played for Oklahoma City Blue in the G League. Averaged 15 points. His shooting stats are fantastic from his recent G League season. Shot the ball at 48% from the field, 38% from outside the arc. They're good numbers.
And then, you know, you get a window there into the defensive impact that he can have as well. Now, not many people can block Chris Golding's shot. Now, Chris Golding's very much a preseason mode right now, cruising through things a little bit. But that's what they brought him over to do, to be able to guard primary scoring weapons of their opponents on the perimeter, and then help tick the scoreboard over offensively.
Agana comes out. Shea Illy straight into the action. Also for the Hawks, there's Xavier Rathan-Mays wearing their headband, the Canadian. 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 steals in the first game. In the second half in particular, Liam, he was the one that really set the tone for Illawarra. Jessup with a hand in the face.
That's really tough against one of the best defensive players in the league, and Illy was right on the spot.
There's Golding though, quick response 3, his second. Maybe he's just starting to get out of preseason mode a little.
He's very much in second gear, Chris Golding. You mentioned the only 11 minutes he played the other night. He got 7 3-point attempts up in that time as DeWalt Reith finishes strong over the top of the defense.
No hesitation taking it at Luala Chul that time, Reith. Dellavedova can't finish. Offensive rebound and put back JLA. All this with 4:30 left in the first quarter. There's Froling scoring, and the and one opportunity on its way.
I'm excited to see what kind of season Sam Froling's going to have this year. Most improved player last year, and took a big leap in that second year as a pro under Brian Goorjian, but he has a runway to having a big season and taking another leap. His brother's just checked in. He's going to share minutes with him at times this season, but just as his body continues to build and get stronger, and he begins to become more comfortable being a primary focus for his squad, has a chance to have a huge season.
Hawks in front by 3. Froling up to 5 points. Dave Barlow in for Melbourne. And that's pass from Dellavedova, spot on. Barlow, 2 attempts from close range, misses both. See Melbourne coach Dean Vickerman there. Illy puts the ball on the floor. Kicks it out for Dellavedova. That time he gets it to go. Both teams getting their main players involved early. Delhi's first points. Froling gets to his left. Shares out to Rathan-Mays. It all opened up for him, and he took care of the rest.
Not many people get by Shea Illy that easily. Quick first step from Rathan-Mays, and he was on the rim.
Illy's found himself in a bit of bother. Luala Chul fouled over the back by Harry Froling. So both teams going in at pretty much full strength tonight. Obviously Melbourne still without Jack White. He'll return a little later in the season. Illawarra suiting up their full lineup. He's not really the sort of guy, Brian Goorjian, that does things by half, does he? He's got the full team in.
Oh, I like it. I mean, if they're healthy, let's go. Get them out there. You could certainly manage the minutes, and we saw that a little bit in that game against Southeast Melbourne. Harvey and Jessup sitting out in crunch time during, key periods when in the regular season that wouldn't happen. But you've got some new pieces, important pieces like Reith and Cleveland, Rathan-Mays. They're going to be a key part of your game night rotation. So you've got to use these preseason games to build that chemistry so you're right to go from opening night.
Luala Chul comes out of the game. Illy called for the foul. You can just see there, number 15 for Melbourne. Our first look at another next star making his debut tonight, Ariel Hookporty. 19 years of age from Germany, 7 foot. He's preparing for the 2022 NBA draft and using the Next Stars program to do it. We're only going off his YouTube highlights, Liam, but he looks a player.
Yeah, for sure. Talent, especially at the offensive end. As Conrad lines it up, can't hit. And Hookporty clears the rebound. And yeah, he's got weapons at the offensive end, can finish strong around the rim. I've seen the Next Stars showing out the last couple of games in the Blitz. Tom Digbo last night, the Frenchman Besson and Dieng earlier this evening. Hookporty gets his chance.
It's a talent-laden Next Stars program this season. It's just going from strength to strength. Nice finish from Emmett Nah. Hawks lead it by 2. Nagata backs in on Nah. Drew the contact and gets himself to the stripe.
I'm interested to see where Emmett Nah fits into the Hawks rotation this season. You know, he's out there.
Does he?
Probably not on a consistent game-to-game basis. He had a DNP in their first hit out. He's come out here for some first quarter minutes, but you know, when they're bringing the import point guard off the bench, they're going to start Tyler Harvey at the 1 by the looks of things. Well, that sort of slides Nah down the pecking order, becomes the 3rd string PG. He's out here right now playing some minutes predominantly off the ball, not something he's used to doing and has really done for a long time. So he's just trying to find where he fits right now in pre-season.
Rathan Mays showing all of his tricks, steps back on Agata and scores. So lots to like about Xavier Rathan Mays. Lots to like about Caleb Agata too. This is a fun matchup.
He's got his juices flowing offensively early in this one. Agata, 10 points, 4 of 5 from the field.
There's Jawop Reith showing us that he can extend beyond the perimeter.
Well, that's why Brian Goorjian's excited about him this season. Has that unique skill set. Rim protector down one end. Offensive foul called on Hookporty as he cleans up Rathan Mays on the dribble handoff. But a little bit, he made the comparison with Jock Landale recently in the media, Goorjian, and that's why, because he has the ability from the 5 spot to step out, shoot it with confidence, stretch the floor. He hoisted them up in the first couple of possessions, but lacks no confidence, knocks one down right there.
Conrad had it stolen away by Brad Newley. Bit of experience between those two. Newley wins the battle. He's playing like a 22-year-old in this NBL Blitz.
Looks like a 22-year-old.
He does.
Brad Newley, you see his quickness up the floor. That's when he's at his best.
Reith, guarded by Hookporty, forced him into a tough shot. Melbourne charge up the floor. Illy has Newley in the corner. That jumps out. A 5-second differential between the game and shot clock. Rathan Mays trying to create. Launches from outside. Still time for Melbourne. 5 seconds. Agata is fouled by Emmett Nah.
He'll go to the free throw line. Hawks over the limit. Wasn't going to give it up there, Agata. Time winding down to end this first quarter, and he said, you know what, I'm feeling good. I'm going to make a play.
Most recently played in Israel, Caleb Agata led the league in points per game and steals. player of serious talent. And that'll be a foul just on the stroke of quarter time. Ariel Huckporty was being held in that rebounding contest, so Melbourne goes straight back to the line. A couple of freebies to finish off the quarter. And here's his first points in the NBL, Ariel Huckporty. And the buzzer sounds for quarter time, and it has Illawarra ahead by 2, 30-28, but very little Liam Santamaria between these two teams.
That was a high-quality first quarter of basketball. High scoring, as you say, 58 points combined between the two teams, but I thought the D was pretty solid. You know, these are going to be two very good defensive teams over the course of the year. Neither of these coaches ever have teams that don't get it done at that end of the floor, and these two teams shot the lights out. The Hawks, they're 30 points at 63% from the field, and Melbourne, well, they're at 50% themselves. So high quality first quarter. Antonius Cleveland was outstanding to open the game, and Caleb Agata carrying the scoring load for Melbourne United. 10 points, 4 of 5 from the field. Cleveland 10 points of his own, and he hasn't missed.
Would that rebound count be concerning Brian Goorjian after one?
Of course. You don't want to have any team double you on the boards. They got 6 offensive rebounds, Melbourne, to Illawarra's 5 defensive rebounds. So getting after it on the offensive glass. That last one from Huckporty in particular, off a missed free throw, trying to close out the quarter. Can't give those ones up.
See some of the major stats from the first quarter. If you have just joined us or you missed the earlier game, the New Zealand Breakers winning 92-90 over Southeast Melbourne. With a little over 8 seconds left, Mitch Creek stepped out, knocked down a 3, and gave the Phoenix the lead. We thought that was it, although New Zealand did have one last possession. And on that last possession, Finn Delaney changed his shot mid-air, banked home the 3, and won the game for the New Zealand Breakers.
It was some kind of finish. And a shot that the Breaker fans all enjoyed. And Finn Delaney, I like the way he walked off too. Do you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't actually all that impressed with his own work.
Yep.
Because, you know, he knows that he banked it in, and there was a little bit of luck involved, but his teammates got around him, and then the smile spread across his face, and it was a fun game. That if you didn't watch it, go back on your KO and check it out when you get the time, because the 2 young Frenchmen for the Breakers balled out. Hugo Besson, a game-high 24 points. Ousmane Dieng was excellent, playing big minutes in the 3 spot with no Tom Abercrombie, who's going to miss extended time. 18 points and 9 rebounds. So a lot to like from what those 2 guys put on display.
Dion Brewster starting the second quarter for Melbourne. Didn't see him in the first quarter. Golding for 3 off target. A little quieter in the first quarter, Justinian Jessup, after he exploded in the first game. But as Liam rightly pointed out, they're putting a lot of work defensively into him. Ogilvy levels Golding. And Jessup fires up an air ball.
That's a good no call, to be honest. Golding might feel like he got cleaned up, but looked to me like he was beat and wasn't able to fight through that screen, so did what he could to try and draw a whistle, and the refs didn't fall for it.
That pass goes astray from Peatling, and Jessup takes it at Golding and get himself to the free throw line. Go back to the first game with Justinian Jessup. Finishes with 27, 7 of 9 from outside. But it wasn't the numbers, I think, that a lot of people have spoken about since. It was the body language, the intent. Pete Hooley was doing that game with me at the time and said that Jessup could kind of drop in and out of games a little too often. He looked on from the word go, and Is that what we're going to see? A more comfortable Justinian Jessup in season 2?
More comfortable, yeah, but more importantly, like you're saying, a more aggressive Justinian Jessup. He was definitely on the front foot, saying, you know what, I'm trying to make the NBA. Warriors have my rights. They need to see me put points on the board, game in, game out. And I can't sit back and rely on guys getting me open.
Yep.
And, you know, the defense helping off me, kick out, I'm open for a 3, all of a sudden I'm catching fire. He found in the second half of the season that where he was relying on that, it wasn't happening. And so he's gone off, played a little summer league, didn't manage to work his way onto the Warriors roster for this season. And you saw after that play there, he's got the mean mug on his face.
Yeah.
He is on a mission to put up big numbers this season as Peatling scores underneath for Melbourne United to try to take that next step.
And that's exciting for Illawarra because Tyler Harvey, that's an offensive foul on Cleveland. Tyler Harvey's going to play that way too. So if that's what the backcourt of Illawarra is going to play like, look out. Illy thought that he was fouled and still arguing the point. Golding muscles in. Gets contact from Jessup.
Dean Vickerman still having words to the officials. They feel like AJ Ogilvy's throwing his weight around a little bit. Golding able to get the call underneath.
AJ Ogilvy announced as captain once again for the Illawarra Hawks in the last 24 hours. Plays a very selfless role for this group.
Yeah, it's been a cool sort of late career revival from AJ Ogilvy, especially over the course of last season. You know, really, I put my hand up. I wasn't sure whether he was going to be comfortable in a Brian Goorjian system. And, you know, having been a part, you know, being coached by the great man and just watching AJ Ogilvy over the course of the career, I wasn't convinced. But I tell you what, I was wrong because he absolutely revelled under Goorjian last season. It wasn't stuff in the stat sheet like he did in his 3 years as an All-NBL first-team member, but doing all the things you need to do to win as Jessup ticks the scoreboard over for the Hawks and playing an important role for a finals team.
That's more of that aggression that we've been talking about with Jessup. Speaking of aggressive, Golding got his 3 away quickly. And Harvey got a piece of him, so 3 free throws coming.
Good call from the ref. Harvey just got caught underneath Chris Golding, so contact as he came down, and the Melbourne superstar chance to shoot 3 from the stripe.
Had a winter adventure post-Olympics to the States. Chris Golding spent some time around the Golden State Warriors.
It was all pretty hush-hush.
It was extremely, it was
at the time, wasn't it?
It was like need-to-know basis sort of thing with Chris
Very
Golding.
much need-to-know basis.
Yeah.
Had the workouts with the Warriors, and yeah, by all accounts, they were really impressed. I understand got down to the last 2 guys.
Yeah.
Who
Avery Bradley.
Avery Bradley, that's right.
Yep.
And they signed Avery Bradley instead. They ended up cutting him, of course, and he signed with the Lakers. But Chris Golding, after that outstanding Olympic campaign, and of course another excellent season in the NBL, putting himself back in the mix.
(33-32) at the Melbourne Sports Aquatic Centre. Tomorrow we're back in Ulverston. Great play, Shea Illy. We'll get back to that in a moment. Peatling with the layup, but it was all on the back of the hard work of Shea Illy. And United grabbed the lead once again. Brian Goorjian wants to have a chat about it.
Well, that's how he can impact the game, Shea Illy. Mason Peatley cashes in down the other end, but Shea Illy, his defensive impact, causing the turnover. And, you know, the Melbourne United, they're a chance to have some difficulties at the offensive end over the
think
course
so?
of the season. Well, that's the question mark coming. They're going to be elite defensively. You got Dellavedova and Illy, the best defensive backcourt in the league. I think certainly Joe Luala-Chul has a leap to make in that regard this season. Mason Peatling's an excellent defender. And Dean Vickerman, he gets his guys to buy in at the defensive end, but they lost a lot of offensive talent. You know, we talk about those big 4 names that they lost over the course of the off-season in Landale and Mitch McCarron, of course, running the show, Scotty Hobson, Udo Bubba. Now, Bubba was an elite defender, but he also gave them a real energy boost offensively as well. And that's the big question mark. Are they going to be able to put enough points on the board? Now, in their game against Sydney, their last down, they only scored 75 points, 34% from the field. So that's going to be the question mark over the course of the season. But if they can create points like they did right there, get deflections, get out in transition, turn defense into offense, that'll certainly help the cause.
And that for a team who last season was 3rd in the competition, averaged a little under 89 points a game. It's going to be one of the big talking points, Liam, I think, of the first third of the season. Nice pass, Harvey, for Ogilvie. How will Melbourne start this regular season? All eyes will be on them. A little out of control there on that attempt, Golding. Cleveland pulls up and rolls it home. Nice extension from Antonius Cleveland. And that has him in double figures. Luala-Chul aggressive at Ogilvie.
That's one man who's not going to have his issues at the offensive end. You know, did cool off a little bit in that last game. Foul on Dion Prewster as he pressures the ball in the backcourt. With those 13 points you mentioned, 37 in his opening game of the Blitz. Joe Luala-Chul, but he's a bucket.
Yep.
You know, his points per minute are just absolutely sky high. They're going to need to make a real focus of him offensively because, teams are going to go at him at the other end of the floor. Put him in pick and rolls, try to challenge him defensively. So they've got to make sure they make teams pay down the other end by feeding the big fella early and often.
Froling back into the game. Hawks go straight down to him in the low block. Peatling did well. Stood his ground, forced a tough shot. Luala-Chul trying to be creative. Ogilvie stripped him of it. Cleveland 1-on-3 up ahead. He's going to get himself on the line, and a bit of frustration from Luala-Chul.
He loves those opportunities, Luala-Chul. One-on-one, little rub screen from Chris Golding just to create a little space for Luala-Chul, but he just loves to face up, crossover, bigger, slower bigs, but lost the handle there. Frustrated, heads out for a rest as Hugporty comes in to replace him. Speaking of rotations, Isaac White into the game for the Hawks. Wasn't he, speaking of white hot in that game the other night.
Set them alight in the second quarter, didn't he? He didn't play at all in the first quarter.
Came out at 19 points, 5 of 6 from long range, and he was feeling it.
Cleveland goes into the paint, blocked by Peatling, played through. Fills up his stat sheet, that's 14 now. It's Ariel Hugporty up for the dunk. Golding threw it up there for the lob. I just don't think that Hugporty had read the memo. He made it work all the same. Harvey late in the clock. Can't get his shot away. Froling for 3. He's been working on that in the off-season, and it shows.
Tough defensive possession from Melbourne United, and Peatling just A little short with the closeout. Froling, he can shoot that. He's always been able to shoot it, but he didn't make teams pay for leaving him open last season. He's going to need to do that if he's going to take a leap this year.
Opposition teams might respect that one a little more next time. As Peatling was being held. It's a pretty clear foul. There's Ariel Huckporty. Here's one of the stories of last season, Mason Peatling. I'm not even sure Melbourne really thought that they were going to get from Mason Peatling last season what they ended up getting. He took an enormous leap forward in his career.
It was a great signing. I think they knew when they signed him that they were getting a guy as a DP who was ready to play. You know, he was a long-term, and I like it from Mason Peatling as well. It was a long-term play for him, saying, this is the organisation I want to be a part of. Okay, it means I'm going to be a DP in year one. But when Jack White went down in particular, he stepped into a starting spot and was outstanding. He's just an absolute workhorse. He had 8 and 9 in the first hit out against New Zealand, 11 and 8 against Sydney. If he gets the minutes, he's a double-double threat night in, night out.
Melbourne boy playing at home. Loving life at United with the title to his name now. Huckporty got Froling up in the air.
He was getting kind of funky with it, Huckporty. And look, this is, you know, the previous couple of possessions ago, the one-step fade away, ill-advised shot from the block. They're the parts of his game that scouts are going to be watching this season that he needs to just iron out a little bit. We saw the strong finish around the rim. He's a talented offensive player, but speaking with ESPN draft analyst Jonathan Gavoni recently, he talked about his lack of efficiency in Lithuania last season. Said it wasn't an ideal sort of spot. It was a situation set up to highlight his talents, but he was highly inefficient. He's got some work to do defensively in terms of just learning how to be an effective defender on and off the ball, but just needs to tidy up his shot selection at the offensive end.
Misses both of those free throws, but Peatling copped a bump, and now he'll go back to the free throw line. This little portion of the quarter won't be pleasing Brian Goorjian at all. One more game for Melbourne in the NBL Blitz. After tonight, they can have a breather until next Sunday. They've got a pre-season throwdown against the Phoenix at Parkville to finish off their season. The Hawks, 2 more games to come after this. They'll play New Zealand on Thursday and Sydney on Saturday as a Calder Gack into the game and upstairs.
He's an athlete. Gack, talk about finishing strong around the rim, and great find from Conrad. Turned down the mid-range and found the big fella underneath.
Dellavedova trying to float it home off the glass and does successfully. Five points for Delhi. Melbourne quickly beyond halfway. It's been a feature of what we've seen from them in the Blitz so far. They're happy to try and lift the tempo too. Huckporty stuffs it over a Calder Gack.
That's a strong finish. That's 2 of them already we've seen from Huckporty in this first half. He gets it anywhere around the rim. He's going up strong with 2 hands.
All of that, and he's 19 years of age. He knows how to use his body. Miss from Conrad. Uncontested rebound for Brad Newley. 45 each. Now less than 3 minutes before half-time. Huck-Porty happy to pull the trigger. That's short. And there he is under the basket. Dellavedova found him. Points are good for the German.
Beetling jumps all over his back. The bench is up and about. They love him. They've been talking all the last couple of weeks, Melbourne United, about how much of an engaging personality Huck-Porty is around the group. And you can see they are enjoying him making a name for himself a little bit in this first half.
Didn't play the first 2 games of the NBL Blitz. There's a lot to like about what we've seen in the first half. Makes the extra. And boots Melbourne's lead out to 3. Rathan Mays surveys the floor. Isaac White is going to find they're going pretty tough. That matchup with Dellavedova. Rathan Mays laying it up. That'll be goaltending. Got a really quick first step, Xavier Rathan Mays.
I like him as a signing. I certainly like the idea of him. He's the piece that they need, an extra kind of ball handler. Someone that they can play in crunch time alongside Tyler Harvey and Justinian Jessup. Run both of those guys off picks off the ball, and Rathan Mays so far has shown that he looks like he's going to be that guy.
Agata passes up the 3. Lawala Chul back in. Is fouled straight away.
Look at the back of the screen there on the bench. Dave Barlow spending time with Ariel Huck-Porty. Barlow recently announced the last couple of days going to take up a head coaching role in the NBL 1 with his Southern Sabres, who he played with as a junior and in these off seasons over the years. And guys like him are going to be really helpful for Huck-Porty as he develops his game in the NBL this season.
Eight points for Lawala Chul. Isaac White being chased around by Dellavedova. Rathan Mays has found himself in a bit of trouble. United clamping down defensively. A timeout called with 1:46 to play before half-time. United lead it by 3, 50-47. A highlight of the quarter, Liam, as we take a look at some of them. And quite a few of them are going to contain that man there, Ariel Huck-Porty, rocking the rim with that dunk. What sort of expectations should United fans have for him this season? It's the first time they're seeing him. Where should the bar be set for the next start?
Well, I mean, this is a team trying to win the title, right? They're trying to defend the title. They're not. This is not a team that's going to be wallowing down the bottom of the standings and it's all going to become about Ariel Huck-Porty. He's got to find where he fits in this team in terms of helping them win ball games. So JLA is clearly the starting 5. Can Huck-Porty come in and play a consistent role as the backup 5 where Dean Vickerman builds trust in him defensively so he can stay on the floor in big moments in big games, and you know, you can already see what he can provide at the offensive end, and we saw him hoist up that 3, but he can stroke it. You know, we talked about his shot selection. If he's wide open, he should go ahead and shoot that thing because that's going to be part of his development as well. And what's going to be interesting to see, I feel, over the course of, you know, the rest of the preseason and the first part of the season, what does it look like when Joe Lawala-Chul and Ariel Huck-Porty play on the floor together? What does that look defensively? It's going to be really difficult to guard at the offensive end, keep them off the offensive glass. Will that become a thing over the course of the year?
Here's Dellavedova behind the back pass for Aquera. Rathan Mays strips him of it. David Aquera, development player for this season. 4 points and 4 rebounds in United's second game. There's an aggressive Lawala Chul with his head down, drawing contact.
The other thing about Porty is this is the first big next star we've had in the league over the course of the program. You know, we've had those, you know, the athletic wings. Terence Ferguson wasn't officially a next star, but essentially he was. Ferguson and Bowen, and we've had the tall point guards and LaMelo Ball and Josh Giddey. Mojave King fits into that first category as well. And a bunch of those kind of athletes around the league this season. But Huck Porty is unique. First young 5 as a NBA prospect to come into the league.
Dellavedova skips ahead for Agata. Lays it up with the left hand. He started the game well, Caleb Agata, and he's finishing the first half well. That's 12 points. Harry Froling has shown us previously that he can shoot the 3, not that time. Newley has Lawala Chul running the length of the floor. This is a slick Melbourne United team we're seeing in the second quarter.
Great find from Newley. Lawala Chul, he's tough to keep up with as he runs that middle lane, and Newley found it.
Hawks need a bucket, and they go to Isaac White. His first of the game. Oh, Aquera bumped, scores. They're starting to piece this all together, Melbourne.
Sure are. And you see Dellavedova, his playmaking on display there. No ball screen needed, just pounded away, got himself towards the paint, and as the defense were all turned and faced and looking at Delhi, Aquera, good movement off the ball, flashed to the open space, and scored 3 points the old-fashioned way.
Had no shortage of college offers, David Aquera, but he's decided to turn pro. Young West Australian.
Oh.
There's a steal. Agata takes it away from Froling, and a late bucket for Melbourne. Half-time can't come quick enough for Illawarra. Brian Gaussian will have some things that he wants to talk about, but that is a much better finish. Rathan Mays finds Gack underneath. And Illawarra score at the buzzer. 61-52 at half-time. Really high-quality game of basketball.
High-quality game and a high-quality quarter there from Melbourne United. As you say, they really put the clamps on late in that quarter and got things going down the other end. Agata's activity was excellent. Spoke about what he did in their last game, the 5 steals. Well, he just took the cookies in the backcourt right there towards the end of the quarter. That was his first steal of the game, but 14 points, 5 rebounds. Joe Lawala Chul has 12. And Antonius Cleveland, he was the standout performer for Illawarra down the other end. 15 points for him in the first quarter, 6 of 8 from the field.
You look at Melbourne United, their scoring is spread right around. As Liam said, Agata has 14, Lawala Chul 12 and 5 rebounds, Peatling 9, Golding 8, Huck Porty off the bench 8, and 5 points for Dellavedova. Other than Antonius Cleveland, all single-figure scorers. Sam Froling with 8, Justin Ian Jessup with 7. Here's something we don't say too often, Liam. Tyler Harvey scoreless at half-time and only 3 field goal attempts.
Well, I don't think we're going to see that in the regular season all too often, and expect him to come out with, you know, a little bit more of an aggressive nature to begin the third quarter. There's Agata picking Harry Froling's pocket. But, yeah, I mean, other guys were getting involved, you know. Tyler Harvey finding his teammates. Certainly Antonius Cleveland was having himself a good first half. And Melbourne United are going to need to stay on top of Harvey as he tries to get going in the second half.
And they lead it at the half, 61-52 from the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre. We're back shortly with the second half here on KO Freebies.
Get ready for 2 NBL Blitz blockbusters in the GOP. New Zealand Breakers next Thursday night. Sydney Kings next Saturday night. Win Entertainment Centre. Tickets from $10, $40 for families. On sale now from Ticketmaster.
We'll race anything around here. Even the odd penny farthing.
Great to have your company on KO Freebies. It's half-time at the NBL Blitz, Day 7. Melbourne taking on Illawarra. At the main break, it's United who lead 61-52. Leon, let's jump ahead a little to tomorrow. Another doubleheader coming to you from Ulverston, which is a beautiful little venue that looked fantastic last night. Perth and Cairns first up. We spoke a little earlier in the broadcast about the Wildcats and the Cairns Taipans. It hasn't been a good start to their Blitz campaign. I don't think we'd be offending anyone by saying that.
I think they'd certainly feel that way as well. Yeah, I mean, 0-2, of course, in their hit-outs, but it's not so much about the wins and the losses, but how they're playing. You know, the chemistry they're building, the body language when things have gone awry hasn't been great from the Taipans so far. They've had 23 turnovers in that game against Tassie the other night. That's too many. We've had a few teams throwing the ball all over the gym in the preseason. That's to be expected, but they need to tighten things up a little bit. They really missed Tajir McCall in that last game. Yep. Hopefully he's back out there. He sat that one out with illness. 2 straight double-doubles from Stephen Zimmerman has been a good sign. Scott Machado, they need him to kind of get going a little bit more for them offensively, but yeah, that looks like a team very much kind of early in the process of coming together and getting themselves into form. Which is interesting when you say that, because yes, they've had a change in coach, but compared to a lot of other teams, their rosters stay pretty similar from last season. But yet it feels like they're poles apart compared to some other teams. They have nowhere near the depth of talent as a lot of teams. You know, like we'll look at Illawarra here tonight. We saw Southeast Melbourne earlier in New Zealand. I mean, these teams are deep, loaded with a whole bunch of talent. The Taipans are a little shallower, and they're going to need all of those key pieces playing at a high level. They're going to need Kawat Noi knocking down shots. He's 2 of 19 from the field so far over their first couple of games. They're going to need Scott Machado knocking down shots. He shot 40% from 3 when they went to the semi-final 2 years ago. He's never really been a knockdown three-point shooter over the course of his career. 2 of 10 from 3 so far in the Blitz. They're going to need him to get back to being a knockdown guy. So they're going to need all those key guys up and about, playing at a really high level if they're going to be competitive over the course of the season. That game at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time, and then at 3 o'clock, Adelaide and the Tasmania Jack Jumpers. I'm intrigued by this contest. We saw an Adelaide team on the back of Daniel Johnson having a 30-piece in the first game have a win. Then DJ sits out the second game, and we see the inclusion of Dusty Hanners, who would be part of the All-Star Greenlight 5 by the looks of things. He is not shy. But then a Tassie team, Liam, in the 2 games we've seen from them so far, I think it's pretty quick to work out that Scott Rott's going to have this team playing with a stack of heart and passion. Well, they've been impressive so far, for sure. Well, you said 1 win, 1 loss. They got that first historic win, preseason or not. And there's been a lot to like about them. I like the fact they're getting up the floor defensively, you know, and they're going to say, you know what, you come down to Hobart, you come down to Tassie and play us this season, you better be ready, because we're going to get up and into your grill across 94 feet. They kept the Taipans to just 66 points in that game the other night. And then there's an unselfishness about that team as well. Now, it's not just the way they're moving the ball either, led by Josh Majed, who's doing a beautiful job of kind of instilling that mindset, but it's the energy around the group. They're all excited for each other's success. They're up and about on the bench. They're vocal. You can see them executing plays that are for other guys, and they're doing it with vigor. You know, like setting Mikhail McIntosh up for his plays, setting solid picks to get Josh Adams open. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes getting Will Magnay into the fold. Will Magnay, how that kind of impacts the chemistry and the flow. But so far, it's been really fun to watch the Jack Jumpers in action. What about the Adelaide 36ers? We don't know what their lineup is going to look like tomorrow, but I'd imagine it will be something back to full strength again. How did you see Dusty Hanners first up? He was aggressive, wasn't he? He's an elite shooter, and if you leave him open, he's going to punish you over the course of this season. His first game in the NBL, he was getting them up, and I enjoyed his activity. He had 4 steals in that game as well. Teams will go at him at the other end of the floor. Not a renowned defender, but he's a dangerous weapon offensively. and as he's shown that over the course of his time in the G League, and he'll be better for that hit out, and he's going to enjoy playing alongside a guy like Daniel Johnson as well. The attention that he's going to draw on the interior. That's another team that's really talented, really deep.
I find them a really interesting team, Adelaide, especially with the late change of coach, because now we don't really know how they're going to play. But, I mean, they could potentially have the biggest lineup out of everyone. I find them a real must-watch early on, the Adelaide 36ers. So that's to come tomorrow on KO Freebies from 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time. We get underway for the third here. Harvey, we highlighted scoreless in the first half. He's trying to get one up early to have a look. Golding was ever present. Peatling has Lawalachu unattended under the cup, but Reith arrived and got a piece of it. JLO played through it.
Good battle underneath. Lawalachu and Duop Reith, and what a beautiful pass that was from Peatling. And Harvey, just as we suggested going in at half time, was going to come out on the front foot. He's been aggressive their first couple of possessions here in the third.
17 points in their first game, Tyler Harvey. Cleveland in a 1-on-3 situation. That doesn't matter. Antonius Cleveland, 17 points. Caleb Agata stepping back, another who looks more comfortable in this lineup tonight.
Both those guys looking comfortable and nice tonight. Cleveland at one end, Agata down the other.
As you can see on your screen there, Agata has 16 points. 78% from the field. Fall away jumper doesn't go for Reith. And Agata gets things moving, sees that he's guarded only by Jessup, drew a crowd, but the pass is a little hard to handle for Peatling.
We got stuck in the air. Agata was trying to find a way to get it to Peatling underneath, but the turnover resulted.
Harvey off the glass. This is more of the aggression we've come to expect. 4 points early in the third quarter. Last year's All-NBL first team member. Dellavedova. Golding was screaming for it in the corner. Shovels up. An interesting three-point attempt. Cleveland for Jessup. Can't get it to go, and the loose ball falls for Dellavedova. Golding was fouled by Cleveland. Early stages in the third quarter, both teams kind of still feeling themselves out a little bit.
Well, Tyler Harvey is, as you say, he's trying to impress his talents onto the game in this third quarter. That floater we marveled at all last season, his ability to just go off one step, left foot, left hand off the glass. So tough to guard. And they had a bit of trouble scoring down the stretch of that second quarter. The Hawks, Tyler Harvey trying to get things going here to begin the third.
Earlier tonight, it was the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix Froling off the glass. Athletic move for a big man. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix going down by 2. A buzzer beater from Finn Delaney got the job done for the Breakers. You can check it out on the NBL social media platforms. Tyler Harvey, 3 more. Just like that, he's got himself up to 7 points and he's got himself going. Here he's at the defensive end, having a roll and releasing Cleveland. Dellavedova called for the push. Five points, 5 assists so far for Delhi.
So Agata comes out, Shea Yelly comes in. Dean Vickerman puts Shea Yelly straight to Tyler Harvey. He can sense Tyler Harvey just starting to heat up, and he knows that can become a big problem.
There's the steal from Illy, immediate impact. Golding in a mismatch on Reed, steps back on him. There's Froling, picking up another rebound, handing off to Harvey, this time driving and lays it up. Third quarter belongs to Tyler Harvey. Gets Illawarra back within 2. He's a hard man to stop, as every team learnt last year when he gets in that mindset. Illy dumps it out for Dellavedova, top of the key. Couldn't get it to go, and Reith happy to bring the ball up the floor. Jessup uses Froling. He drives, no foul call. Lualachul did enough defensively. There's Golding, lays it up, and Jessup got a piece of his arm.
Great work from Dellavedova down the other end of the floor. His physicality, so locked in defensively as he chases Jessup around those picks. And Froling ended up missing at the rim, and then the push, kick ahead to Golding as he runs the lane, and had a little bit of trouble ticking the scoreboard over the last couple of minutes. These are the kind of dry spells I was alluding to earlier in that first half that, you know, last year with all those weapons, that they didn't have too many of those moments, and they're trying to find a way to work their way through it.
Well, last year, so often in that situation, it was a dump it down to Jock, wasn't it? We need a score, give it to Jock and let him go to work.
Played through Jock a lot. And the other thing they had is just a little bit of extra playmaking from the perimeter. Scotty Hobson was excellent in that regard once he settled into his role off the bench. Certainly Mitch McCarron was terrific, all NBL second team as a result of his two-way play. So they're going to need to find different ways. Caleb Agata certainly bringing some of that here tonight.
69-65. Harvey for 3 off the front of the rim. Ariel Huckporty back into the game. Such an impressive first half. And Newley out for Barlow, the veterans combine. It's knocked out of play. There's Brad Newley. Starts the season 36 years of age. May end up being a very savvy signing by Melbourne United. Rathan Mays has picked up his dribble. Harvey shakes away from Illy. Froling for 3. It won't matter. Offensive foul goes against the Hawks.
Well, Harvey's in a bit of a tough spot right here with Shea Illy in his stuff. Illy fell asleep just for a moment as he was denying Harvey off the ball, but as he funneled him down the lane, Matthew Dellavedova's waiting right there to take it right down the numbers. Those two as a defensive duo are going to be a nightmare over the course of this season. And Dion Prewster checked in. Great to have him back in the league. He's an excellent story in his own right and a terrific perimeter defender as well.
Relationship with Dean Vickerman that goes back to the Sydney days. Barlow driving and dishing out. Harvey saw it coming. Comes up with the interception for Illawarra. Reith pulling up in transition. Big knockdown from the 6'11" Duop Reith. That looked nice out of the hand.
Oh,
Porty put the ball between the legs. Newly from the corner. Froling and Huck Porty get caught up.
foul called on Huck Porty. He's done that a couple of times, just coming in over the back for offensive rebounds, trying to keep the ball alive, but just a little overzealous there, and Harry Froling didn't appreciate it.
No. Normally it's the other way around. Normally Harry's the one banging a few bodies around. Reith feeling pretty good, was left open, makes them pay.
Geez, he can stroke it. Just a beautiful release too. The confidence in transition, and then, yeah, you leave him open, he's ready to punish you.
That's going to really give opposition teams something to think about. And we saw Sam Froling make a three earlier as well. Harvey shakes away from Illy. He's deep on the three. Illy couldn't find Newley, and that was last touch Melbourne. And Harvey sits down. He's got himself up to 9 points now, all in the third quarter. Sam Froling out too, Justinian Jessup out. Cleveland, Harry Froling, Rathan Mays, Reith, and Emmett Nah on the floor for Illawarra. Illy, Huck Porty, Agata, Barlow, and Newley for Melbourne. Newley takes it out of play. 6 left on the shot clock here for the Hawks. Rathan Mays takes Newley baseline, kick out for Nah. Couldn't finish off, but there's Duop Reith.
We just wanted him more. Duop Reith down low, no one got a body on him. Huck Porty needs to block out, and Reith made him pay.
Cleveland's pass a little sloppy. Rathan Mays did okay.
Oh.
Gets back to his feet, spins on Illy. Reith, nice pass for Froling, not that time, and couldn't hang on to it. A golden opportunity goes begging for the Hawks. Huck Porty cross court for Agata. That's off target. Turnovers just starting to creep in for both teams late in this third quarter. Not that time for Agata. Minute and 10 before three-quarter time. Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre.
Well, what was the super high quality kind of regular season-esque battle earlier on? It has a real preseason vibe around it right now. Guys hoisting it up. The shooting percentages dipping, missing from close to the rim, and a few turnovers. Both these coaches will be looking to have their guys tidy things up a little here in the fourth.
Reed's three jumps out. Strong rebound, Newley. Yeah, things have just kind of dropped away a little bit. Ariel Huck Porty takes a rest. The Hawks leading it by 4. Illawarra head down to the basket, blocked by Froling. He hasn't given up on it yet. This time Ogilvy got a piece of it. He's so determined in that situation, Illawarra.
Well, he's not about to throw it out.
He wants his bucket.
Is he? Yeah, some guys, they get that offensive rebound. You say, well, you got shooter's toe on the line on the arc, ready to fire, big fella. But JLA, once, twice, 3 times a lady for the big fella as he gets himself to the free throw line.
It's a golden opportunity that he's been presented with this season. The starting man in the middle for Melbourne. All the signs from the preseason NBL Blitz as he's ready to take on the responsibility. Clock's at 6. Cleveland gets inside, goes with the left hand, and finishes off the quarter strong for Illawarra. They're going to take a slender lead into 3-quarter time, 75-71.
Well, that's what they needed to finish things off, the Hawks. Gorgian reinserted their game-leading scorer, Antonius Cleveland, a moment or two ago to just try to steady the ship a little bit offensively as they started to go a little haywire. And he gets a late bucket, 4-point lead, takes his tally to 17. He's been super efficient. And he takes his tally, to 19. 8 of 11 from the field. He's looked really, really impressive.
In a quarter that, when it's all said and done, Illawarra take a point and outscore Melbourne 23-10 in that third term.
And we spoke about the offensive struggles that Melbourne had. Look, you see them still leading the rebound count by a dozen, but things just really dried up offensively in that term for Melbourne United. So they've dipped down to 44% from the field. As you say, just 10 points for the term. And they just completely dried up. Illawarra and Agata are their leading scorers, 16 apiece. Golding has 12. But they struggle to tick the scoreboard over in that third term.
And that, further to your point, Lee, and that kind of goes back to what you were talking about of them finding ways to stop these lean periods. And it's still early. They're obviously still trying to work it all out. In that situation, or when things aren't happening, is that Chris Golding time? Is that where they prioritise Chris Golding over others?
Well, Golding needs to be a priority all the time. Yeah. I mean, he's got to be their guy. Obviously, Joe Illawarra had that explosive offensive game to begin the preseason. But Chris Golding, look, he doesn't need to have explosive offensive games in the preseason. He's been here and done it. 2-time championship captain and All-NBL second team last season, 16 points a game. And he's just a superstar scorer in this league. They need to make an absolute focus of him all the time. What they don't have right now, which they had in Scotty Hobson and Joe Illawarra last season, is scoring punch off the bench. They don't have that in this lineup right now. Now, Ahakporti, they hope that he's going to bring that on the interior for sure. But they need it on the perimeter as well, which is why I wouldn't be surprised if they reach a point of bringing Agata off the bench.
Really?
You know, start a guy like Dion Prewster as Rathan Mays causes the turnover here to begin the third quarter. Prewster or Newley in that Sam McDaniel type of role and have that scoring punch off the bench.
Rathan Mays been a little quieter tonight, but he's got some serious capabilities. Spent last season playing in Romania. Also played 5 games with Memphis during the 2017-18 NBL season. NBA season, I should say.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be a big-time scorer this season for them. Rather than Mays. You know, they've got those guys in Harvey and Jessup. Antonius Cleveland's going to tick the scoreboard over. Sam Froling and Dwight Reith on the interior. But anything he adds in that regards is a bonus, but come off, make plays for others. That'll be the key for him when he checks in.
Cleveland hemmed in on the baseline. Clock winding down here for the Hawks. That just can't quite find the space that they're after. Froling has to manufacture something. A strong rebound by Huck Porty.
Comes up smiling. I spoke about his engaging personality in that first half, Jack. I spoke to him after Melbourne's game the other night there at MSAC. Asked him, how he was. He said, yeah, he's been a little calf issue. It's kept him out of those opening couple of games. And then he said, hey, you get me on that podcast. So I want to get on that podcast.
Your podcast is big in Germany.
Said I want to have a bit of a chat. I said, okay, maybe we could speak a little German.
Do you speak German?
Ein bisschen.
Huh?
Just a little.
Do you really?
Well, we might just have a little chit chat.
Oh, I think a lot of people would love to see that. Needs to come with subtitles though for the rest of us. Everyone wants to be on the Huddle podcast. Any big name guests lined up in the next little while? Do you want to tease?
Huck Porty.
Yep.
Does that fit the bill?
Yep. What about Joe Chi?
We could try to make it work.
Be interesting. Barlow at the top. Knocks down the treble.
That's more like it from Barlow. Had a couple of open looks earlier. Wasn't able to knock them down, but 48% from three last season and drilled that one.
It's Rathan Mays with the quick response for Illawarra. Keeps their lead at 5. And he's into double figures himself now. As Cleveland sees only Barlow ahead. This time pulls up. Well short on the 3. Illy can't keep it alive, and Melbourne give up possession.
That's good hustle. And Dwight Reid, not even in the game, goes over and picks up Shea Ellis.
It's very generous.
Where's the love from the United teammates?
Hawks are going to open their season on the Sunday of the opening round against Adelaide at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. Melbourne's first game will be on the same day. They'll be at Kudos Bank Arena. What a massive game to start the season that is.
Huge. They've got a fun team to watch up there in Sydney as well.
And they don't like each other.
They do not.
They do not like each other, Sydney and Melbourne.
Nope. And I'm looking forward to some big crowds at Kudos Bank Arena this season. That is a really, it's not just a good team, but it's going to be a fun style and team to watch over the course of the season.
Yep.
They're going to play hard. They're going to play. They're the 6 seconds or less Sydney Kings this year. And if you're in Sydney, get your memberships and your season tickets. Get along to the queue, as they're going to be fun to watch.
And a shout out as well to Chris Pongras and Paul Smith. There'll be a lot of double headers this year as well with the Flames, which
2 teams, 1 club.
which is awesome. So's that knockdown 3 from Golding. Our man Hammer in charge of the Flames this season. He can make a real day of it. Or night of it. Rathan Mays, mid-range 2. And a hand in the face from Dellavedova. Much like we saw in their first game, Rathan Mays having an influence down the stretch. Huck Porty rolls to the basket.
He just travelled, just had the happy feet on the catch there. Huck Porty was a good find from Daly, and that's the type of efficiency I'm talking about with his game and the scouts are looking at. Now, it's not just your shot selection, but your ability to just keep your feet, let the defense fly by, go up and finish with authority, and instead of turning it over, finishing strong, 2-point game, and you're up and about.
6.5 minutes left in this game. Timeout called. We mentioned tomorrow. What's to come for the NBL Blitz?
I'm going to need to get my Google Translate out here.
Why is that?
Jack, my phone's blowing up with German.
Is it?
Guy Neville from NBL Media. He's bringing a bit of Deutsch out.
Does Guy speak German?
He's sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Is that right?
It seems.
Okay. You guys are so advanced. Did you do German at school? Is that how you know it?
I did German at school. A couple of trips over.
A couple of trips over as well?
Yeah.
Wow. Oktoberfest?
It wasn't Oktoberfest, but that was much like the experience. When in Munich.
Oh, do as the munitions do. We did Indonesian at school. To this day, I've never understood why, really.
Okay.
It's not exactly a kind of universal language, is it?
But you can speak a little?
Not really, no.
Oh, okay. Were you
No.
paying attention?
Not really, no. I just wanted to know when PE was.
Wunderbar.
I know what that means. Tomorrow, Perth and Cairns at 1 o'clock. All on KO freebies. And then from 3 p.m, Eastern Daylight Savings Time, Adelaide and the Jack Jumpers. Should be a fun Sunday afternoon of hoops as the NBL Blitz is on the road and into the community at Ulverston. Fans loved it on Friday night. They flocked there to see Bryce Cotton play. It's Antonius Cleveland coming up big again. Knocked out of bounds by Jessup. A little quieter tonight, only 7 points on 3 of 5 shooting. But I think that also speaks to the work that Melbourne have put into Justinian Jessup tonight defensively, Liam.
For sure. And also Antonius Cleveland stepping up. We spoke about why they brought him in this season. Look at him. He's got the job of guarding Chris Golding down this end, but down the other, he's got a game-high 21 points on the board.
Long rebound for Dellavedova. This time Golding managed to get his 3-ball away. Conrad. As Jessup cutting back door. Melbourne thought he might have stepped out of bounds. It matters little in the end. Dellavedova bringing the ball up the floor. Surveying his options. That Joe Luala-Chul wide open. He went the extra pass for Newley. He was bumped on the way through.
Well, that was interesting. You don't see Joe Luala-Chul pass it too often at the best of times, let alone when he had the mismatch. He had Justinian Jessup there down low. And that's a bit of a lot of what we saw from Jock Landale last year. Talk about how they're going to replace Landale. They ran their offense through Landale a lot, as you said, in the first half, and he'd draw the double team and he'd find his teammates. And Joe Luala-Chul, they're showing a willingness to pass it up as well.
Clock down to 4. Golding trying to be creative. Gets a late whistle that the Hawks aren't happy with.
Well, that was looked like a bit of a bailout whistle, to be honest. Didn't have anything happening there, Chris Golding. I thought the defense was sliding their feet pretty well. Had him all wrapped up. And Chris Golding able to draw the call.
All NBL second team last year. Averaged 15 points a game. 38% three-point shooter on the season. 83-78. Inside the last 5 minutes of the game. The Hawks looking to make it 2 from 2 at the Blitz. Melbourne with the 1 win and the 1 loss to their name so far. Jessup steps back on Illawarra. Melbourne happy with the pressure they brought defensively. Illawarra at the other end, too big and too strong.
Great play from Illawarra, both ends of the floor. Excellent defensive stance late in the shot clock against Justinian Jessup. Knew exactly what he wanted to go to and was right there for the contest on the step back, and then got the seal down low. Perfectly weighted pass from Delhi, and then strong finish underneath Illawarra.
16 points, 8 rebounds for Illawarra. 4 of them offensive as well. That's where he's just such a handful for the opposition. He's got that desire to attack the offensive glass. Reith pulls up. Another very late call.
Illawarra gave Duop Reith a little bit of a gap there, but then was on the spot for the contest, the mid-range pull-up. But the ref thought maybe he just clipped his shooting arm a little.
Part of the bronze medal team at the Olympics, Duop Reith. We only saw him in limited portions of game, but the parts that we saw were quite good, weren't they? Some people were even wondering whether Duop Reith warranted more minutes during the Tokyo tournament.
Oh, I thought, for the most part, I thought Gorge did a great job with those rotations. You know, he flipped it up right at the right time. I felt that Slovenia game.
Yep.
When he started Matisse Thybulle for that matchup with Luka Doncic. And you're right, Reith was good in the minutes that he saw. He was really good in the warm-up action in Las Vegas. And, but, you know, the opportunities weren't there for extended run throughout most of the tournament. But in his limited opportunities, I thought he really held his own.
It'll hold him in good stead for future tournaments as well, won't it? For
sure. Yeah, there'll be others, you know, like Jock Landale, of course, is now a staple of that Australian team. Nick Kay, Isaac Humphries, hopefully, you know, he can have another excellent season, put himself back in that kind of mix. But, I think our national team is going to be looking very nice for a long period of time.
Sure is. Hawks lead it by 1. Their lead was 4 at three-quarter time. Melbourne, if you're joining us a little late, led by 9 at the half, and Illawarra outscored them by 13 in the third quarter. Really changed the game. Dellavedova scraps for it, then the long pass chopped off by Reith. Jessup gets to the corner and nails it.
Great push from Rathan Mays. Great find. Just sucked the defense into the lane. Knew he had his shooter ready to fire.
Back-to-back turnovers for Melbourne. It may hurt them. Rathan Mays. Froling passes up the 3, wants to get down a little lower than that. Peatling stands his ground and did well. They're not going to get a shot away, Illawarra. Golding on the tear, drives, left-handed layup, scores.
And you look at Sam Froling in the back of there. He's frustrated because he knows that's the shot he has to take. Rathan Mays finds the shooter, the open guy on the arc, and he has to punish the defense by letting that fly and knocking it down. He has to get to a point where he's put in enough work during the week, where he's got enough reps, where he's confident to step up and knock that down and make the defense pay.
2-point ball game. 2 minutes and 26 seconds left. Two teams who were part of the Final Four in the NBL 21 season. Melbourne going on to win the title, and Illawarra had a fantastic series against the Perth Wildcats. The Wildcats scrapped and clawed and got there in the end, but the Hawks, I think, gained a lot of admirers from the way they went about that postseason.
Oh, no doubt. But at the same time, they were kicking themselves. You win game one in the jungle, come home, a chance to close it out in front of your home fans at your home venue. Luke Travers has an enormous double-double, and they just couldn't get over the line. Then they go and have another swing in the jungle, and just minutes after they lose that series, there's Brian Goorjian talking to the media saying, we're just not good enough offensively to take that step, to beat Perth in a finals series. And so then they went into the off-season with a clear goal in mind. We have to get better in those key areas, and you can see tonight they've made some really nice additions in that way. Antonius Cleveland in particular is the game high scorer. Ruthen Mays is going to help tick that over, and Duop Reith, with his ability to stretch the floor, changes this team.
Hawks in possession out of the timeout. Reith got Lawala up in the air, drives and finishes under heavy contact. Been a really good showing from Duop Reith. 16 points and 6 rebounds.
Well, that'll feel good for him. He was quiet in their opening game. Fouled out in 20 minutes, 7-1. Had a much bigger impact tonight.
Golding, hand in the face from Froling. Nothing but cotton. Back to 2 the difference. Both teams going with what looks like their closing lineups, and it's showing as well. Xavier Ruthen Mays puts the ball on the floor and then pulls up. Peatling blocked by Froling. Big defensive play in the last 90 seconds for the Hawks. Now their opportunity to cash in at the other end of the floor. Shot clock down to 5 for Duop Reith. Backs down on Peatling, then falls away and scores.
Oh, that's tough. They didn't have much happening there, the Hawks, and Duop Reith just needed to make a play.
6-point game. 45 seconds left. Nice pass from Golding. As Peatling flashing to the cup.
He's got 18 now. Reith, a couple of big buckets late. We talked about the changes that they've made to their lineup, the Hawks. One thing they've got to be aware of, making sure they get Tyler Harvey the rock in big moments. Reith was able to knock that down, and he gives them another weapon offensively, but got to make sure when they take him off the ball, as Peatling steps up, can't knock that in, but they still find ways to get Tyler Harvey open.
Peatling makes 1 of 2. Extended pressure from United. They try and trap Jessup. He's got some issues now. Put his foot on the line. They get the ball back and didn't lose too much time in the process.
Exactly what they needed. They came up the floor, tried to get a trap, didn't want to foul. Let's see if they could force the turnover, and they got it. A quick bucket here. What kind of quick hitter does Dean Vickerman have in his bag for them to execute?
Golding after the handoff, threw up a long bomb. Peatling tracks it down. Dellavedova's got room, and 3 jumps out. Peatling tips it in. Now they need to get the ball back. Harvey gets beyond halfway, and then eventually Melbourne had to foul.
17.9 on the clock, but they've only had 2 team fouls, so that's their 3rd. Chance here to try and get another steal, stop the clock.
Foul on Reith. Do that in less than a second.
Well, these are those take fouls that the officials know that they have to call now. We talked about that with Lamar Patterson in New Zealand's opening game last season. Officials aren't going to make the same mistake.
Jessup takes the foul from Agata. He'll walk to the free throw line. Last season, his shooting stats, 43, 34, 75. So comfortable in this spot.
He's got a real Harry Hypants sort of
thing
going on here. Is that he's trying to hide the blood?
Yeah.
Okay, he's trying to hide the blood that
why,
was on his jersey.
You wouldn't choose to have your pants up that high unless you're
he was
in your
being
70s.
He was being kind of crafty about it. But it's an interesting one because he was set to shoot the free throws. He's annoyed. Tim Conrad comes in, a chance to ice the game.
I think Tim Conrad knows what he's doing from this spot.
He was quick off the bench,
He
wasn't he?
sure was.
Said, I'll take those.
It's a 2-possession game. Conrad straight out. Antonius Cleveland coming in. 14 seconds left. Melbourne try and manufacture a quick score.
Well, last time down they ran the quick hitter for Chris Golding. Tried to get the whistle and it didn't come. See what they go to here.
Bit of confusion here. The officials just sorting the timeout. All of our ducks are in a row. Dellavedova charging up the floor. Golding's got space again. Not that time though, and Froling drags it in, keeps control of things, and that should take care of it for the Hawks.
He's got a wide open look. Well executed play. Great screen from Joe Luala-Chul and great timing for Chris Golding coming off. Got wide open and just couldn't knock it down.
Dean Vickerman, Melbourne coach. There'll be some things that he can take away from tonight, with some adjustments to make ahead of next Sunday's game against the Phoenix as well.
Well, they were good, Melbourne United. The Hawks were better, but really just that third quarter for Melbourne United let them down. Just got dry at the offensive end, a 10-point quarter, and that's when the Hawks got the advantage.
Illawarra undefeated to start their NBL campaign. 2 from 2 in the Blitz They knocked off the Phoenix in the first game, and they took care of the other Victorian team tonight. 97-90 the final score. As you say, Liam, engineered on the back of a 23-10 third quarter.
Good win from the Hawks. Gorgian will be happy with that. And he'll be happy to have got Antonius Cleveland up and about as well. Mentioned just the 6 points. He was active in their first game, their new import wing. But tonight he troubled the scorers. 21 points, 9 of 14 from the field. He got 3 steals as well. Tyler Harvey got going there at one point. He had a quiet night overall, 9 points. But they had a bunch of contributors. Jessup, Froling, Reith, Rathan Mays all in double figures. And a win over the defending champs.
Here are some of the highlights from this game, which certainly in the first half, the game changed a little bit, Liam, but offensively, both teams were on full show in that first half.
They were getting good looks. They were knocking them down. They were both teams shooting at a high percentage. Duop Reith was nice throughout the game, but the defense picked up a little bit in that third quarter, and while both teams sort of lifted their intensity at that end of the floor, it was the Hawks that were able to continue to tick the scoreboard over. Melbourne went dry. The Hawks got out, established a bit of an advantage, and they were able to, for the most part, hold on to it from there. That was a nice moment from AK Gak. I think we're going to see a few of those nice moments from him, and there were some nice moments from Ariel Huck-Porty as well. In his preseason debut, the German next star. He had, 7 quick points or 3 quick buckets down low. And so some positive signs from him. Agata had some nice moments as well. So certainly some things for fans of both teams to enjoy from that preseason hit out. And these two teams who are well and truly going to be involved in things at the pointy end of the season.
Joe Lualachul, Melbourne's leading scorer, 20 points and 9 rebounds, 19 points for Chris Golding, 3 of 10 from outside, 16 for Caleb Agata and 12 for Mason Peatling. For Illawarra, 21 points for Antonius Cleveland, 18 for Duop Reith in a really good second half performance. Xavier Rathan-Mays 14 and Sam Froling 12 points. As we take a look at the NBL Blitz standings at the moment, Liam, and it has the Hawks on top of the table. They've won 6 quarters. They've won both of their games, which gives them a total of 12 points. Second after that is Brisbane, who have also won both of their games. They've won 5 quarters. New Zealand have played 1 more game than everyone else. Third on the table in the Adelaide 36ers, who are in action tomorrow. Could finish the weekend on top of the table. They've won their 2 games and have won 4 quarters, so they'll get a chance to maybe sit atop of the table by the end of the weekend. Liam, thank you very much. Always fun to spend a Saturday with you.
Job, Jack.
And a big thanks to everyone for joining us now. Great team behind the scenes as well. Earlier tonight, it was New Zealand winning 92-90 in a thriller. And in the late game tonight, Illawarra getting it done and remaining undefeated at the Blitz, 97-90. Stay safe. We look forward to your company tomorrow for a Sunday doubleheader in Tasmania.